Today, I'm going to introduce my project, as you say, it called Create Language Genius. What does that mean? So we were doing an experiment about we will throw a young infant into the bio-language or multi-language environment and to say if he can learn the more than one, like more than six different languages as his first languages and become a speaker of the six or more different languages. So here is our menu. There will be four different parts of my project. So as the first part, I will explain like why I chose this topic, the reason, and the second part is the support, which was the articles and the articles I find to support my idea and my opinion, which makes it uh, possible. And the third part is proposal part. So it is my plan to about how could we do in this experiment and what should we do, the stages and the step by step. And after the proposal part, I will say like doing a little bit summarize about the benefits of my project for the children's benefits and for the all humans futures benefits. And the last part is the references, is my literature review part. So first, let's say why I have an idea to create a language genius. Is that possible to create a super baby? So let's say all this data. So why does this idea come from? Where does it come from? So in our class, a classmate described that she growing up in a dual language environment of German and English, so she can speak both languages proficiently. So that made me have some thought that I found that babies have a high sensitivity and strong learning ability to all the languages when they're just born and when they heard the different languages. So if a young children can learn language quickly and without limited, so far there's no evidence that infants have an upper limited to language learners, so to language learning. So why not? What if we just put the infant into the multi-language environment and see what happened? So let's imagine that according to the current level of social cognition, people who can speak six or more languages can be called language masters. But in society, we barely had this kind of masters. So I'm going to do a study to discuss whether placing a baby in a multilingual home with more than six languages can make a 3-year-old language master, or since every language is a first language, the result may even surpass the average language master. So if such children can exist like wildly, it will have a non-negligible positive impact on the future cooperation and development of all the human beings. So first, let's look at the possibility of this experiment. So the biggest problem of this project maybe have ethical issues. So for our participant, the young baby, it needs to be approved by the guardian, the ethics review committee, and the relevant government departments of the baby's country to make sure we don't have the ethical issues to doing this experiment. And then the possibility part, how many conditions do we need to support our experiment? I list the 5 different things here on the idea part. So the first one is parents. First, according to the experimental ethics and the moral standards, parents' consent is required for experiments on kids who do not have the ability to make decisions. So also it is better for the parents of the experimental subjects to speak different languages, so we can just include parents as the experimenter. It will be like more comfortable for the children, I think. And the young children need to be selected to start long-term experiments because when the first language is formed, young children become less sensitive to sounds in other languages. We read it, we find that in an article that is when the children have already have the first language formed, when the children heard the different languages pronounced, they're less attractive from that pronounce. So that's the reason. And the third part is the experiments need to be approved by the relevant departments of the local government. As we already say, it's ethical issues. We don't want the experiment become illegal. And the third part is the experimental location could be selected in the South Africa, Switzerland. There's like multilingual integration areas, so it will make the culture part more like easier for our experiment. And the last one is the supports. Support studies have found that children who use bilingual communication in their families during childhood can better control their attention. And also, we find another article said that the children have the bilingual communication environment or the multilingual environment can be better on their cognitive controls, have the higher cognitive benefits. And then I will introduce a proposal, which is the plan of our experiment. How do we perform the experiment? What do we need to prepare for this? So I list 5 different steps on the experimental preparation stages. So first one is we need to read a bunch of articles. We should read articles about examples of children's ability to learn multiple languages, ensuring that the experiment is feasible and does not have any possible negative effects on the participants because it's like a sensible, like a weakness participant cannot be harmed. Another one is the AP approved, which is eligible ethical principles of the psychologist and the code of conduct. And the third part is identify participants. To determine the age, gender, family conditions, number of participants, all these things, like I think this study should be decided to use a case study and also the long-term study, because at first we need to have at least one successful example like this case study. Then we can like ask for more participants to say if it is like universals. And the fourth step is we need to determine the location. As we were said, South Africa or Switzerland, experiments will take place in Switzerland is the final decision, which is inherently like multilingual and with a more stable society because it's a long-term study. And the fifth, the last one, is determine the type. So it's a longitudinal design and study, and it's also a case study for just one children at the beginning. And when we start, what should we do? Like step by step. First, we need to find the participant, which is the future genius baby. First, we're going to fly into Switzerland, find a local person, and we post a newspaper offer to say if someone wants to join our study and become participant. And then we need at least 5 experimenters who can speak the different languages, like 5 different languages, to build this multi-language families. If the baby's parents can already speak 2 different languages, maybe we just need 4 or 3 researchers who can speak the different languages to build a family, and we can include the parents into our study. It will make the participant more comfortable, I think. And also, it's a long-term observation. What should we observe? First, it's the fluency of the different languages on the when the baby's growth, during the baby's growth. And the second one is the how many languages can this baby speak when he growing up? Like all of them, like six different languages, or just one or two, like the like his parents' languages. And also the attention effect, like we already said, the multilingual baby can have the higher attention, like they can more focus on their own business, which is a good benefit. Also, we can write down the other effects that we find on our study. And after I explain what why I do in this study and the article supports of the possibility of the study and how could we make this experiment. And finally, I want to doing a summarize about the benefit for the participant, which is the baby and the whole human world. So it will be three different parts. So first is on the children's brain, the benefits and advantages on the children's brain. And another one is the advantages on the children's future, which is our participant. And the last one should be for the whole human world. This study will change. What this study will change for the whole human's world. So first for the infant, which is our participant, we should avoid the moral problem, then we meet a better future. So after speaking more than one languages extends rather than diminishes an individual's cognitive capacities is on the children's brain. And there's a strong argument in the literature that multilingual development may result in establishing specific architectures of the mind that are likely to promote later cognitive advantages, such as the higher attention abilities, which we just mentioned many times, and not only for the children's brain development, and also for this children's future, we find that children who can speak multiple languages will have advantages in employment when they're growing up, and also at the same time, they can obtain more comprehensive information, which can help children invest or start their own business when they're growing up. So after the benefits of the children, let's say, what is the benefits of the whole human world? So if the idea of language geniuses is implemented, when we can put the newborns into the kindergartens, have the experimental environments to mass produce the multilingual learners like this genius, of course with the permission of the parents, which can eliminate many wars caused by cultural and racial barriers, I believe. And also, at the same time, more creative children can also bring more discoveries and inventions to the human world, reduce the first we reduce the threat of the war, and also we promote the progress of the human civilization, which have a huge benefits, I believe. And okay, finally, let's look at the references. So the literature review part, I will introduce the different articles I find on this study. First, the prepare stage, we find the article said that how babies of cross-culture parents learn pronunciation. In this article, is described that the baby is more the young infant is more like sensitive with different languages pronunciation and can learn the languages faster than all the other ages. So it makes the possibility of our study. And then it's the cultural register differences in infant direct speech and initial study, which have the same things, and also the center for research on biolingualism in the theory practice. So it's another proof of our ethical part this one and this one, multilingualism and creativity, it both said that the the multi-language environment is have the benefits and advantages on the children's growing. It will it will make the children have a higher attention and also give their advantages on their cognitive development. So which can decrease the ethical problem. And then the next literature review is language policy in the multilingual Switzerland. That is why we chose Switzerland to become our experiment location. And for this article, language experiment experience and early language development from input to uptake. This one is about the language development part that improve the possibility of our experiment and in the academic the academic research part. And the final one is the ethics of social research with children an overview. So this one can make us to avoid all the possible social ethics issues when we are doing this social research study, and to make sure our study is legally and justified. Okay, that's all what I said today. Thanks for listening.